Yo, Theban. Welcome, man. How long has it been since we've been sitting here having a conversation? I think December?
I think not December. It was September, I want to say.
Ooh, after AxieCon? Yeah, it was after AxieCon.
Yeah, I think it was September probably.
It's a long ass time, bro. But I'm glad to have you back. Obviously, for those that are watching now that don't know who Theban is or 1437, I am in the presence of a GOAT. Like, we're at what now? Four, Pete? 4 champions or four titles.
Titles in a row, yeah.
Yeah, which is not easy. One championship is not easy, and the past 4 seasons, there is not one of those top 10 or top 100 that's really been pushing that wouldn't is not trying. People are absolutely trying to take you off of that spot, and it's not working. Like, I think it's a no-brainer to start the interview here, but like, talk me through it. Just talk me through the most recent win.
Yeah, I mean, this one was I feel this one was where I really felt like a lot of people trying to contest me for the position. Mainly probably because of the 5 games that is mandatory to be played if you're in the challenger ranks. So with that, some people are like, all right, let me just, go for it. The thing is, every season, there's always someone or multiple people who contest me, but every time they do, they just go tumbling down,
Yep.
Maybe it's a luck thing, right? Maybe I'm just more lucky than they are. I don't know. I really
don't pull out the luck, man. Don't pull the luck out.
But, every season, like, they just always end up with, like, a worse result. Like, most of them were ones who had, like, let's say, second place locked in, right? Or, third place locked in, and they just try to go for it and end up, like, 9th or whatever. And then, it really hurts.
It hurts that last day. If you get it wrong that last day, it can be tragic. I know there's a lot of people that feel that out there.
I think between 2nd and 4th was like a difference of $5,000.
Yeah,
which is insane, But the jump from 2nd to 1st wasn't even $5,000, right? So like that, with how much money is on the line, like sometimes you really need to assess and be like, okay, this is it, right? This is as far as team goes. This is where my comfort level's at and whatnot. Sometimes for me during the seasons, like this last one, I feel like I knew I will win this one. Not like season 2. Season 2 was hard as shit. That was probably the hardest season I had. Mainly because of the swirls, right? The swirls were like some disgusting meta that you just like everybody hated it. It was literally the worst thing ever. Season 3 was like a Topaz mirror match, pretty much almost every single game. But for me, I love mirror matches. Like, I just know that in mirror matches, I can always find my way to, like get an edge somehow in the game that other people might not think about. Just sometimes like it works that way. Or maybe I have an Axie that they don't, right? And like I'll try to best use that Axie the way that I can. Like I was rank 1 or 2 for pretty much 8 out of 10 the last 10 days of the season. Something 10 or 9 days, something like that. But like 2 days before the season ended, I was like ranked 70. I literally lost. Like,
I was gonna say, yeah, you came
humbling.
You came at, like, it always seems to be the case that like as the season's coming towards the end, like you really get in your bag and you start stringing things together. Like there's got to be some kind of, like you're saying, you do have your ways to play with your comps, and it is specific. Maybe you have an Axie that does something specific that you kind of tune into in those mirror matches, but like there has to be some kind of mental approach to that.
I mean, I just try to play the game, man. Like I love Axie, like I really do. I love the entertainment. I love how things piece together. Like there's people out there who talk about bugs, this and that. Like I just see those things as a feature to the game. Like
there's always a game being played.
Exactly. Like even when you're doing, let's say, those races, right? What is it called? Speed runs?
Yeah.
Right? How do you attain speed runs? You abuse whatever bugs are available in the game, right? And use it as feature, and people glorify those things. Where like, I'm not saying I'm abusing some bugs, but I just know like when those things are in the game, I only see it as a feature whether someone else uses it or not. If someone else is using it, I'm gonna be like, okay, so now I have to account for this thing. I gotta account for this thing. Some people like think about bugs and they just get stuck on it. They just get fixated on it and they can't move on. Right? So like I guess that's where the mental aspect comes from that you're talking about, where some people just can't get past some certain checkpoint, and like you kind of need to if you want to really like take yourself to another level.
No, for sure. I can see that. There's a lot of, with all of us as gamers, there's a lot of different perspectives, mentalities, way that people approach things and deal with things. A bit of controversy that happened this season, the conversation of juggling. I know there's been slight back and forth on Twitter. I haven't really gotten involved with it, and before this started between us, like Theon asked me if I died earlier this year because I was off the scene for so long. But really and truly, before I was very close with the competitive game. I was extremely involved. I would seek information. I would communicate with you guys quite often to really understand the perceptions from the top. This season is like very different. I pretty much played on my own for the majority of the season. And didn't really contest at all. So watching these things happen and watching how tight it is at the top, a huge factor. Would you consider? I think it is something that from the outside looking in feels very unfair. Where you at with it? I know there's some tweets about it, but we can probably talk a bit more on
it. I guess we're really getting into this one. Yeah, I mean, you're giving me the platform to be able to talk about it, so I guess I will. Like, for me, this juggling system is only gonna benefit those that are well connected, who know each other, trust each other, who know like there's something to be gained mutually, and it won't like help anybody else. So we're talking like, the 1% will benefit. Anyone else, like anyone new coming to the game, whatever, it's not gonna help them. This is not like, oh, we're enabling scholarships again. It's not. Yeah. You can still discuss it. What you're enabling is the ability to use the same axes that was used on one account to climb, to use it on another account. Like we're talking like a copy paste of 3 axes, right? What that does is like, sure, it's about, oh, maybe skill is the reason why you climb, but in Axie, skill is not the reason why you climb. Skill is one part of the reason why you climb. Yeah. Another part of the reason why you climb is your assets, right? And how much you invest into yourself, into the game. And this is a rule that everybody has to follow. So when you're juggling, you're cutting out one of the aspects of the game that is actually vital and pretty much everybody needs to be following.
Would you say outweighs?
Sorry?
Would you say outweighs? The sort of 2 parts out. I'm heavy on the fact that it does, and sometimes I find myself frustrated with that factor.
Yeah, like it can. I also know players who spend extremely like a fraction of what they spend to attain really high ranks. Like for example, in season 2, my team didn't cost me more than 0.6 Ethereum for everything. Like I'm talking like runes and charms included, Axies. Yep. And there were people spending like 1-2 ETH to like get whatever rank they ended up at, right? So like from my perspective, I don't think one outweighs the other as much. I would say it's still a little bit more skewed towards the assets that you own.
Yeah.
Right?
But then again, that is a game, isn't it? Right? The asset side is a game also.
Exactly. But what I will say is like, so now when you remove one of the parts, it's like you got one team that can be bought by one individual, right? And he can now just hand this same team over to like 5 of his friends that he trusts and is not going to run away with his stuff, right? There's a very key part, right? Trust and not going to run away with it, because people saying, oh, why not everybody else can do it? Well, you're not going to trust anybody, any random person that you meet, right? So that's why no one's going to give you some new player who's going to come into the game. They're not going to juggle to you because they don't fucking trust you.
Yeah.
Right? That's just nature of humans. So now you give it to your 5 friends, they go into the arena and they climb straight to the same rank that you are at, because, Origins is a game where it's about, okay, what is the team that you build? And as long as you know like the 2-3 little tricks that you got to do with it, you can get there. Right? So like your friend is just going to tell you how to do that, and he's going to take a small percentage.
Yeah. They not only give you the assets, they give you the experience that they've just had getting there as well. And
exactly. Yeah. So now you got this one guy who's at rank 11. He hands his team over to the next guy. He gets a rank 12. He hands the team to the next guy. He gets a rank 13. So now you got this ranks from 10 to 15 who's ran by the exact same 3 axes, right? And they just share amongst each other, whatever. And now they're, taking away liquidity from the market in terms of like, what you should be spending to get this, some assets to get to that
distribution
rank.
factor.
Yeah. And like, sure, they're saving money for themselves, but this is like only benefits them. It doesn't benefit the economy in a single way. And you're taking away ranks from other people who did, the right thing to get there.
Yeah. The reason I wanted to bring it up, man, is as like I align with it, and I agree with everything that you said. I align with it in a way where I almost find it that the bigger problem for me is the gamesmanship, the sportsmanship of it. Like it doesn't feel right. And I know in some of these factors, and this is again the perspectives, and we're completely in a realm where anybody can play and everyone can play, but the honor and kind of playing and upholding a code doesn't matter, or is outweighed by the reward for some people, and that might be the case. But if like a general community agree with like, okay, this doesn't represent us and like what we're about, then I think we should, this, and again, why I use platforms like this to talk about it, because I think people would band together and say, well, you know what, I don't think that's, we give the details and the facts behind it all, and it is kind of bullshit. So I think we could definitely look back and make improvements from what has been.
Yeah, like it is really like bad sportsmanship. Like I use a great example online. I was like, okay, imagine LeBron James, right? He's playing for a team. You pay him his salary, right? Your LeBron James team gets eliminated in like the first round of the playoffs. Now he's very well connected, in the grand finals, let's say to Golden State Warriors. And then Golden State Warriors like, hey LeBron, want to come play for us in the finals?
Yeah.
And then you just allow it, like.
Yeah.
There's no difference. Then like if people are talking about like, oh, this is my asset, I can do whatever you want with it, right? Like can Lakers just hand LeBron James over to Golden State Warriors
and then put money on the Golden State Warriors to win?
their part, their rank, like, after they've got like their season finished, it's what it happens. Players finish their day of playing and they just hand over their axes to somebody else. It's complete bullshit. And there's people like who defend it. I understand where they're coming from, right? Because maybe they need it. They need the money. They need whatever small little gains that they can gain from it, right? So they're going to fight for it because it's beneficial to them. But it's only beneficial to a very, very, very extremely small minority. One thing I will tell you, if this is something that's going to be normal, just imagine if I decided that, okay, I'm going to get to, a really high rank and I'm just going to start passing over my team to my guildmates, right? And like I get all of them into the top 10, right?
It would be MTA
them or something. What's gonna happen, guys? You're not.
Bro, do you know how much hate you would? Do you know how much hate would be thrown your direction if that was the case?
You know what? You know what? I would never do that. You know why? Because I have integrity. I know that this is not something that is worth it. Like sometimes I even hesitate to just be like someone will ask me for an Axie and I will hesitate because I feel like, is it okay? But I will still do it if I think it's right. But I always hesitate because I always wonder like if it's always going to be the right thing or not to like just give this,
I get what you say. I've been in similar positions where, within like the Ronin social network, we might communicate and someone will say, oh, well, like, Gila, you have this really cool poison Axie that like works for my team. Like, can I borrow it? And like, nearly all of the time, like I'll be like, oh yeah, whatever, I'm not playing with it. And I think it's important that like on this topic as well, there has to kind of be parameters around even that type of transaction as well, because even if I'm just giving it for the sake of like, I'm helping somebody out, is people could argue, is that the same thing? I know it's not exactly, but the action itself is. So there is it has to be carved out and quite clearly communicated what can and cannot be done, especially when it is competitive and things like money are on the line, man. So it's a difficult one.
I think there's a big difference between like tournaments and ladder though, right? For tournaments, it's fine. Like you have to register Axies, right?
Yeah.
So now no one else is going to be able to use the same Axies that you registered.
Yeah.
But when it comes to ladder, right? It's like everyone is competing, right? Every single Lunatian is going to be competing on the leaderboard, and it's really important. That's where like things kind of get murky, because sometimes I just forget. I'm like, okay, did I use this Axie or did I not already? Like, am I going to use it again? That's why I always tell people, like, you want an Axie? Listen, if you want this Axie from me, just buy it. I'll give you like a fat discount. Sometimes I even give it to them for less than what I bought it for, just so like I don't have to deal with the whole thinking of, oh, like, did I use this? Did I not use this? Let's just do things the right way. Let's just enjoy. Let's just have like, a fun way to play. Like, I hate the whole trying to cut corners, trying to find like the little ways that you can just like cheat somebody else over like a placement or this or that. Like, forget it. At the end of the day, it's just a game. We're just here to play for fun.
I don't think it would feel as good anyway. I don't think it does feel as good if you're on the back end of knowing that like 3 of your mates all finished in the same positions similarly because of one team, and like it might feel good because you're the immediate factor of getting the money, but really and truly it can't feel too great. And then the next season comes around and you got to look for another way to cut corners again. So yeah, I'd like to.
I made a tweet too. Like, one of my guild mates did that. Like, that was when like
Okay.
I already knew people were doing it. I didn't say anything because like, listen, man, it's not up to me to like,
police it.
How do you say it? Like, project my morals onto like the whole community in that moment. But like when I heard about my own team, like I didn't want people to perceive Meditate as a guild as someone who would do that and like is like allowing for that to happen. So that's why I went on and tweeted, because like, I needed people to understand like what our stance is on it. Especially me as a leader, as like the coach, of like the esports team, like in Meditate, I had to let people know, because this is very important.
No, I appreciate it for sure, and I'm sure a lot of people in the community were like, it was glad that the communication was sparked and it was a bit more open and people were able to voice opinions. So, but I definitely appreciate where you came from. Talking about Twitter, have you got a reply from Coco Bear yet?
Oh,
go check for me real quick.
Not since the second guess, I think. Oh my god, he said try again, last one.
He's actually doing the choose one number between 1 and 10.
Yeah, he's.
Why?
I don't know what to do. Like, I already chose 2 numbers. I didn't get it.
This is like the worst type of riddles, bro. You don't know what you're getting into here. But I mean, I don't know. I don't see why. Like, I don't see why he wouldn't. But then, like, I just don't know. I don't know. Like, you don't get to really interact with people like Coco Bear himself. Like, he don't really come into the community, so you don't really know how to take him. I don't know if he's memeing you. I hope he's not. Like,
he followed me. This is the first time he's ever followed me, right? Yeah. After like 1 year of me like pestering him.
Bro, like, 4 championships in a row. Like, you literally. I mean, if I was him, I'd probably say, yeah, get 5, mate, and then yeah.
Listen, I swear he's told me that when I got my my season 1, like when it was 2 in a row, right? I think he said that to me, like, get another one. I got 2 more.
2 more, bro. What more do you want? If he hits 5, then it's gotta be. But no, I think that would be so. That would be so. It would be poetic in ways, but like I just think you deserve it at this point. Like, the legacy that you kind of have already in Axie, just from what you've done, to then be etched kind of in your wallet forever, having that Axie that does represent kind of what you've brought to the table, man. Like, you've probably put people on.
I would get so much art with that Axie.
All the artists better go tweet Coco now. I need commission, but
yeah, I mean, this is one of those Axies that's just like absolutely priceless, right? Because it's not about an asset anymore.
Yeah,
like, it could literally be soulbound, right? And it would be the same value to me.
That's such an interesting thing to think about. Soulbound, like, will we see soulbound Axies at a point?
It's possible, but in the NFT nature, probably not. But like, just what I'm saying is that Axie is just like, it was meant for me, right? Like, in that sense, I'm not saying like I'm supposed to own it.
Yeah,
this is owned by Coco Bear. That's his Axie, right? But like, in the sense that like I have this name I've had for over 15 years now.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's a double mystic is like, and how rare it is, that's crazy. It could have been a normal
I
oracle.
was gonna say, I'm sure there's probably like Axies either side of the number that don't have, you know, those traits. So it's crazy. It is kind of crazy. And honest to God, I for me, you deserve it. Of course, it's easy for me to say, but at this point, like, I hope by the time that this is out there and people are listening to it, that you do actually have Axie 1437 in the wallet, bro.
Yeah, I mean, he's giving me another chance. I'm not, I don't know.
What number are you gonna go for? Wait, let's go for the number. We'll make a decision here. Yeah, we'll go for the number. Yo, if I fuck this up for you, I'm so sorry. But like, where's your head at with the number right now?
I mean, I already get 7 and 2. 7 was because of my daughter, right? She was born on the 7th at 7:17 a.m. So that was my lucky number. You know, she's brought nothing but love and luck to our family. And like, I was being genuine about that.
Yeah.
It's
What an asshole, bro. I should have just given you for that, bro.
Second number I gave was number 2. This is my second lucky. This is my personal lucky number.
Yeah.
And next, I'm trying to think, maybe 6. I'm thinking 6 because like I'm trying to add the numbers in 1437 and it adds up to 6. You know, 1 + 4, 5 + 3, 8 + 7, 15, and then add the 1 and the 5.
1 and 6,
you know?
like the numbers theory. Yeah.
Yeah, numerology.
Numerology. Yeah.
In there. Yeah.
Would he be that cryptic?
No, I actually don't know. Like, that's like, at this point it's just a chance, right? So 6. The other number is like every number has a reason, right? Like, we can choose number 1 because, you know, we are number 1, right? We won everything.
It's probably number 4, bro. You've won it 4 times.
4?
Yeah,
4 is the other one where like won 4 times a season in a row, but I've won 5 seasons, you know. I won in B2 as well, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're counting World Championship or anything like that, so it's a bit like weird. Maybe it's number 5 because like, you know, go like after this one, go and win the 5th one, right? Like, there's always something behind everything, right? Number 4, where it's like, you know, 4 means death, right? Like,
bro, I just feel nervous for you. Man. It's crazy.
Exactly. So like, this is where it's all tricky. I don't even know what number to give. Like,
all of us say is, okay, I just hope when this is out, it was the right number. If not, you got to win another season to have another try, I guess. But we'll see. But no, I don't know why. If you're hearing this, Coco Bear, bro, help a brother out. Just help a brother out, man.
Or are we just doing this like?
We are not live. I'd love to be live right now and get everyone tweeting. We should. We that would have been a nice. It would have been a nice. It would have been a nice stint on the whole live.
Man, so. I'm really like broken. Like, what?
I don't know. I don't know what to go for. I don't want it to be wrong. I don't want you to lose out on the Axie. I don't want it to be my fault and feel the guilt for your eternal sadness of no 1437 Axie. But have you offered?
Is it number 1? I'm going with number 1.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll get back to it later on in the interview. See if he's hopefully he gives a quick reply.
I'm doing it. Okay. Is it number 1?
Locked in.
Okay. All right. He wrote 1 like many times. He wrote guess number from 1 to 10, and if we'll be right, I will send it. Then he says nope, but 1 more try. Then he wrote try again, last 1.
Yeah. Okay.
It's number 1.
Okay. Yeah, he was leaving the breadcrumbs. Hopefully. That's dope.
Oh, no, but number 1, you know, like maybe that's it.
It's gonna be a talking point in the community for sure. If he does give it to you, man, I think that's the right thing to happen right here for sure. But nah, man, it's what a cool community we actually do have. Bro. It's there's always games, as I say. There's games within games within games, and you are the bro, and you are a top games player. It doesn't matter, like it really doesn't. I know the topic we're about to go into, I know it closely links to types of games you've played in the past before, but you're just very, very skilled at all forms of games, bro. Like I think it's like leadership, the understanding, the ability to communicate it. Like we're gonna talk about TMA now, and we will dilute into Ronin games, but like TMA for me is a great game. I've really enjoyed playing it. Watching you play it in the early phases made me realize that, okay, yo, I'm not playing with like just random people. Like we're playing with some serious gamers. Was it a surprise for you how well TMA played the first time, and how much you found yourself, you know, enjoying playing? Because I know it was like we did a lot of games those first few days.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun playing that game. That was actually the first time I ever played a game like that.
Yeah.
I literally like, I know they call it a MOBA, but for me, MOBA is like Dota, League of Legends, right? So when I was expecting MOBA, I was like, oh, yo, I'm gonna go into a map, I'm gonna hit some creeps, I'm gonna get some items, I'm gonna like slay some people. Then I jump in the first time, I'm like, oh wait, this is a shooter. Like I gotta shoot people down, I gotta do all these like the skill, using the skills, the abilities is kind of the same, but like how it's played is different, right? Like you can't directly click on someone, but you have to click on them in terms of like shooting and things like that.
Yeah.
I hate shooter games. Like that's like, I don't like CS:GO, I don't like, you know, like PUBG, and like I played them, but it wasn't my game. Like the strategy aspect of those games I enjoyed, but like just like, you know, having to be like picture perfect, like this kind of stuff wasn't for me. So when I played Machines Arena in the beginning, I didn't really like it that much. And then there was like a time where we scrimmed, I think, against Chiefs team a little bit, and it was like I only had like 1 or 2 hours in the game, and we got slapped. Like we got freaking slapped. Like I was playing on 350 ping, but I don't enjoy getting slapped. Doesn't matter what ping I have, you know. So then I'm like, all right, bet. Like then I like really got into it. I asked Lynx, like, yo, Lynx, let's link up, let's play like a few hours of the game. I played like 2 hours, and at that point, like I just mastered Tesla,
for sure.
Right? And like in like 2 hours, I just became like some Tesla god or something.
Yeah, no, honestly, I don't think I've played a better Tesla. Oh, Nomec. Nomec, one of my friends, Nomec, is the only Tesla that I've seen anywhere near close to what he done, and arguably, I don't know, I'll put it out there, but like we'll see, you'll see the R squad. They'll be competing in TMA. There's a lot of guys over there that really enjoy it. So, but now you definitely had the best Tesla I've seen so far.
I think I had a game in the finals. It was like 14,700 healing.
Yeah, right? Yeah. In the tournament, like, yeah. Talk to me about the tournament. How did you find that? It was. It felt good to play out like that.
Yeah. It was really fun. It was really fun. I enjoyed it a lot. I just didn't enjoy like the server selection. So how the server selection was working was like whoever, like even the spectators included, like whichever side had like the most amount in one server, like
they would take that
and to pull that way, right? So we had like kind of like an international team. We had like Europeans and like people in North America, and then, you know, for example, in the finals we played against, you know, 4 guys like in Southeast Asia. So the server kept getting pulled to like Australia or something.
Crazy,
right?
Yeah.
And
that's like as far away as it can be.
It had like the worst packet loss of any server, and like we all had 300 plus ping on the server, so we can't even shoot anything, you know.
Yeah.
Like it was almost impossible to play the game. But other than that, like when you're playing on like the same server and the ping's like even, it was super fun to play. It was really fun to play. There's a lot of strategy involved as well, right? You know, you have to coordinate things, you have to do this and that. Will I keep playing the game? For now, the answer would be no. Like I really have a lot of other things on my plate that you know, I have to deal with.
There's something that needs to be worked on anyway. We need more player liquidity. The online mode right now is a bit difficult. The only way we can play TMA, and from my honest point at the moment, is if you get lobbies together, really, because that's the only way you get to like you get that benefit, that factor from the game that you look for. So
yeah, so like I think for fun, it would be great to play, you know, with just some friends. But for me, like competitively, it's just not a time or a place where I would really get into it. Like I got Axie to think about, I got Battle for Jilson to think about, you know, got some stuff with Meditate, got some tournaments coming up, right? Like would have to think about. I don't know if AxieCon like is still happening or not.
Yeah, people talk about this AxieCon or RoninCon. What do you think it would be now?
RonCon, something like
RonCon, yeah. We're all gonna end up saying RonCon soon, right? I could feel it. I would love a Ron Con. It would be dope. I'd definitely do everything I can to be out there for sure. You mentioned Battle for Geostone. I know this game is playable. Let's say that, right? It's playable. Where are you at with it? Like, I know you can't leak release dates, those types of things, but happy since the last time we spoke about it, like with progress and things like
that? Yeah, I mean, we're having a raise right now. Just want to be able to fast track a lot more of the stuff. The game's in a good place. We have the league that just started today. So we got for Southeast Asia and Europe. So there's like 15 teams on both sides. There's a lot of prize money there. I believe it was $12,500 for like the 2 different leagues. Wow. So they're starting that out. We're getting the momentum that we need. How
do I put people on? Like, if I had a group of friends right now that were deprived of games and I want them to start playing Battle for Geostone, how do I do that?
Yeah, I mean, just hit me up. I'll hook you up with the right people to get you all set up and be able to play. You can always join the Battle for Geostone Discord and just write in there. And we got plenty of people who will gladly help you set it up.
Cool.
And start playing. I think like another thing that has been on our mind is maybe being a part of Ronin Network as well.
I was good, bro. I don't know if you're reading my mind here, but after you gave me details on like how good it was going, I'm glad, because like we'll talk about it. I've had experience playing Battle for Geostone. I'm not a MOBA player, but it's a game that 100%, if it came to a space like Ronin and there were people from the community that I hang out with and spend time with, and we were able to play it, it's different. Because for me, a MOBA, when I'm on my own, I have no friends that play MOBA and I have no experience, I'd be an absolute noob. By the way, you'd have to add a backpack into the game that I could climb into. But like, it's a lot. It feels like some of those barriers definitely would be taken down by bringing it to somewhere like the Ronin Network. And I would just love that for you, for me, and for Ronin as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many people, there's a lot of overlap. Okay, so let me tell you this is gonna like chime in with everything.
Okay.
When I first started Axie, people already knew who I was in Axie. Even though I was just like some random guy who just came in like just to play the game. But they knew me because of Dota 2. Okay? And the reason why they knew me is because there's this huge overlap between Axie players and Dota.
Yeah.
Because, the Filipinos, like the Philippines, like national esport is like Dota, right? Almost everybody knows what Dota is over there. So like they all knew me from Dota, and they love playing the game. Battle for Geostone has a lot of elements to it. Actually, just recently, Dota just launched their new.
I saw your tweet. Yeah.
Yep. They took our idea of like where to put the Roshans. They never had that in the history of Dota for like the freaking 15, 20 years that they've been there. They've never done anything like that. Okay, and now they took our idea of having like the Roshan. Ours is dragon, right? But they put their Roshan on the top left corner and the bottom right corner.
Yeah.
Okay, this is unique to Battle for Geostone. There wasn't no other game that had.
Yeah, I hear biting your style already. It's early doors and it's happening already. It's strangely, like, it's strange, right? It's not like the timing seems strange, right?
It's completely strange because we had this for like over a year and a half, right? This was literally in our white paper, like how we were going to design the game and what we're going to do. And like in our game, it's like that even right now as you play it. And then suddenly, here comes Valve and their game, and they just launched this. I'm not surprised that someone there has been watching, closely, looking at Web3 stuff, especially seeing like what I'm doing, for example.
Yeah.
I worked with some of the people there in the past. So, they know how my mind thinks. So I'm not surprised. So what I will say is, like people, if we do come into like the Ronin Network, it's a game that's able to be played in the Ronin Network, there will be a lot of people playing the game, right?
Yeah.
One thing I do want to change about Battle for Geostone is I want to make the game time even shorter than what it is, right?
Yeah.
I think right now, like once we add our second map, which is like kind of the sudden death thing, like it'll shorten down to 25 minutes. I want to try to make it maybe 20 minutes
Yeah.
maximum timer per game, I think that would make it really fun, like without taking away any of the mobile
The strategies
elements,
and yeah,
right? Any of the like League of Legends or Dota 2 like effect that we're looking to have, right? And then I feel like a lot of people are going to be playing that game, man. Like if we are there,
bro.
it would be something that everybody will enjoy for sure.
Nah, I can see it for sure. There's a lot of people, like you said, there's a crossover between Dota and Axie itself, and there's also like a plethora of MOBA players that are Axie players right now that they might talk about, yeah, I want a MOBA for Axie, but like if they had an access to a MOBA on Ronin, it that liquidity is going to be there for sure. I would love to see it. I would love a MOBA. So let's see what happens. But I'm pretty much sure that from my experience, I've seen the game, even though it was very short at the time, and like I said, I didn't feel like I had any means to kind of go and play the game as a noob on my own, and I just thought I don't know about this. I might need some friends to do that with. If you add that friend department, then I can see where all those barriers get broken down. It's pretty exciting, man, and I think you overlook a lot of the time all of the things that you are actually doing outside of the game. Like we were talking about TMA and saying there's just so much outside that goes on. Finding balance with all of that, like how I always talk with you, and you always seem, in high spirits, very, assured, focused, and it's admirable in many ways, bro. But like how maybe if you could express some of the things that are important to you. You always mention how family is a driving factor for your huge motivation, and kind of how those pieces work together and to enable you to perform the way that you do.
Yeah, it's sometimes just as simple as that, right? Family is like that. Like when I was younger, in my early 20s, when it came to family, I kind of like took a big risk. I just ignored all of them. I just like, when I was 19, I actually went to China to play Dota 2.
Wow.
Like I had this organization in China called LGD who wanted me to come play there. And I just told my mom and dad, peace.
Yeah.
I just left. Like I didn't give a shit, right? Like that's the kind of I just wanted to follow my dreams. I wanted to like really take this opportunity. Like they wanted me to stay home. They wanted me to study.
Yeah.
I remember
College,
having nights where my dad would just come into my room and like rip the modem out.
Hey, yo, we've all had that story. I'll tell you, if you're not a real gamer, right? If your parents didn't shut your internet off because you were playing too long, man, that's for real.
Like he knows that like I just would play all night and then I wouldn't go to school in the morning because like I just been playing or something, so I ripped the modem out. Like shit like that happened, right? But I just knew, like for me, gaming was always this like get away from reality, right? Like the depression, this, that, whatever that you face as a teenager, and stuff. But when I did that when I was 19, and like as the years went on, and like I became more mature, I learned how to like live on my own, or like I learned how to make my money, especially once I was able to make money. Like I came from a really like poor family, like coming to Canada, it was just my mom and my brother and I before my dad came like 8 years later. So we struggled a lot. And because of that, like I didn't really understand, what was at stake, like through my early 20s and stuff like that, until like, okay, I made my money, then I was able to support people, then I really understood like how much my family like sucked up while I was gone, kind of, and like what they had to deal with and things like that, and I grew like a like much more appreciation towards them. But everything kind of came into place once I met my wife, or my like my future wife, or whatever you want to call. Like once I met her, then
your better half.
Yeah, my better half. Then she like really showed me like her family, how she treats them, and like how things are supposed to be. And everything kind of just clicked for me at that point, right? Like what I've been missing out on, what was like that void, inside of me that I had to fill. What I really wanted, and it was the same for her. Like I showed her like what life can be like, what we want to do, and that's where like things kind of just like pieced together, and we had children, we got married, we had children and everything, and now like we just kind of live for each other, right? Like it's just what it's all about. Like I never, when I was younger, I didn't really think I had some goal in my mind, right?
Yeah.
I just played games because I freaking love games. It was the most challenging thing for me. I didn't find education challenging. I didn't find, uh, going to work and like climbing some ladder over there, like it's a 9 to 5 thing challenging. Like they all seem very mundane to me at the time, but like gaming was just like this, there was always an obstacle that you had to overcome nonstop. Like, and it was always a new one, right? Like even in Dota, no two games were the same. So it really kept me intrigued at all times. And that's why, like you said, I'm good at all these other games too.
It's the adaptability.
It just interests me, right? Like the moment something doesn't interest you and you lose focus, then it won't matter, right? Like as long, like, for one of the reasons why I keep doing well in Axie, for example, is because I still love the game the same way I did when I first started it.
Yeah.
Right? I just enjoy the game. That's it.
Which is huge. I think it's I have to go back into my days of playing sports to relate in a lot of ways. As much as I love games, right, and I consider myself a gamer, nowhere near to the extent. But when you're talking about it was the challenge for you, and sometimes it's just like you're almost in like flow state. Like it's because your attention's there, because you care about it, because you have goals and aspirations for your performance, things like that. It's like you just lock in and things happen. There's some times where I can't even explain performances, but like great things happened, and you're like, that's what felt right in the moment. As do you get those things with gaming, like with Axie? Like I feel like you can, on these final days, you must go into like an autonomous mode where it's just like nobody is fucking with me today. No deck is beating me.
I tell my wife this all the time. The last 24 hours of a season, it's like
I was just saying, I would just love to be a fly on the wall, like watching you in the last couple of hours of the season just to see what it looks like.
Last 24 hours is like there's a mode that I don't know how I reach it. It just comes like every time. Same as like AxieCon in the finals, right? Like I was down 0-2.
I thought you lost, bro. I can't lie. I was tweeting it. I cursed it. Right? I'm sorry, Spam.
I was down 0-2 in the finals, right? Everybody, they're already like, oh, this is gonna be a sweep. That's it, it's done deal, right? But like, my brain went somewhere else, Like, it's like my brain just transcended in that moment and like figured it out. Like the puzzles just like came into place in like 1 second. Same thing in the last 24 hours. In the last 24 hours, it's like somehow I just know that I can't lose.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how or why or whatever. I had some matchups where like it should be impossible for me to win, right? And it happened every single season. But like in the especially it's either like the last game that I play of the season or the second last game that I play of the season. Like this is the game I'm supposed to lose.
Yeah.
And like it just finds its way to like make it happen. And sometimes those are like the difference makers, right?
Nah, for
real. It's just how it is. I don't know. It's just like this thing that comes in, like you said, maybe it's just that flow state, right? In Dota, for me, it was hard to reach that all the time because even if I do reach it, it doesn't mean that the success is guaranteed to me because it's a team game.
Do you reckon that's why you're so consistent with Axie though? Because really, you only have to depend on yourself, and getting into that flow state is kind of a natural thing because of the enjoyment. Yeah,
I think that has a big part in it. Like, surprisingly, the games that had the most success in have been games that were like I'm just myself. Like the other game where I had this level of like domination was Dota Underlords, right? Like it's funny because like Dota's the game I played forever, but I cannot say I had this level of domination. Like in Dota, sure, I won some lands, some major, some minor, whatever, but like it wasn't like this level of back to back to back, consistently like where in Underlords I did have that, but that game was also like a single player, like not single player, but you're competing as yourself, and then there's like all these other guys that like in the games, eight man lobby essentially. So like even the tournaments and all this, that like I did really well. So that's another game. And yeah, I think maybe it has something to do with that. Like how my brain works, I can't always explain to people, or how I think. Like I can't always explain to people in like real time, how to adjust, what to do, right? So like sometimes it comes off wrong, and people can't adjust quick enough, or maybe I might just hurt them in their adjustment instead.
Yeah.
Right.
Because now they're thinking about more
they're
things.
thinking about something else, right? We're like, in these single player games, it's like I'm the one who's adjusting for myself. So if I lose, it's my fault. So
I think you just have like a brain that's like a fucking single solid state drive that's just massive, bro. And like every turn, just like the numbers run. It's like, okay, bet, yeah, he tried that one. Now his max is this, and we just switch it around. It's okay.
Sometimes it's not even as like accurate as that. Like as long as like it's in the vicinity of like the right answer.
You do get the flow though. You get the flow though, right? I mean, I peak at like fucking dragon, right? There's nothing at that point. It's like I either go and buy fucking 3 glove charms for $70, or I go and buy an entire topaz team. So like that was pretty much it for me. But there's even at that point, there's every matchup that would be very close. There was like very finite differences, like a choice between a card that essentially kind of does the same thing, but there's like a minor difference in certain aspects of it that eventually is like the win con that gave me the win. Like that decision, other than as opposed to the other decision, was actually the one that gave me the win. So I guess that you do, once you know your deck in depth, you do have those moments as well. But building the deck is the hard part for me. Now, we can talk about how, to touch back to Axie, how the top 100, it looks dumb. All right, let's just be real. All right, it looks stupid. I forever want to stand behind and stand with Jatster and Hale for sure, and I extremely appreciate the work that kind of those guys have to do behind the scenes, and the balls that they're juggling as well that we don't know about. I'm sure. I don't know why I had to say balls, but they're and I don't know why I had to say juggling either. It might be ironic, but I genuinely didn't mean it that way. Anyway, but like they have to juggle a lot of things, right? But what like do you have a solution?
You've been juggling a lot of balls lately, Gila?
Not me. No. We're talking about others.
So, I mean, let's address that. That's a really great point. I think their job is extremely difficult, like beyond imagination. Like people come in and be like, "Oh, why don't you guys just test this?"
Yeah.
Like, bro, they probably tested 100,000 different things. Not everybody thinks the same exact way, right? You got to understand that their testing team, maybe let's say they have like even 10 people. Even 10 people is a lot probably, right? That's all they got testing, all the time. Their 10 people versus the 100,000 whatever people that are playing and like coming up with shit all the time, right? Like how many of those 10 players can probably compete against like let's say the top 100 players, right, in the game? Like you got to think that like your mind needs to think at least at the same level as anyone in that top 100 list to like.
Yeah, but this is why I don't understand, Theban. I don't understand like why are you not like a part of this process then?
Well, I was at one point. They voted me in, but then they removed both Meat Value and I. Meat Value and I are probably like some of the greatest minds in this game. They removed us because there was so much controversy about, oh, these guys are gonna
influence over the game and still playing and
blah blah blah. Bro, I'm not even part of it. I'm still rank 1. It don't matter. Like it literally doesn't matter. It's like whether you believe it or not, that I will be unbiased and I will do the right thing by the people, right? Like and the game. And that's always been my goal anyway, right? Like I've always talked about, there was a time I think it was like in season 1 where I was like guys, you cannot roll moon shards over into the next season at the 50% rate or whatever it was. It's completely unfair for new players coming in. This will only benefit the players at the top who farm a shit ton of moon shard every season. So they're gonna roll everything. They're gonna, and at that point, by the way, it's like, oh, if you craft to the mystic level, you can just craft mystic charms and runes and sell them right away, right? Like it's completely skewed towards the people at the top. Like, and people were like giving me backlash, saying,
but I don't.
good or whatever. Doesn't, bro. These things help me, right? If I wanted to, these would help me more than, like it hurts me or anything. Same thing with this whole like Axie juggling thing. You allow this, and if I were to abuse it, the one who would benefit the most would be me. But I fight against it because for me, it's more important that we have a fair system for people to be able to, like, everyone can play by the same rules, right? And you can just not feel like someone just has this huge advantage just because of how the system was built or whatever.
For me it's about like it's the adoption though, right? Because like that's what you're looking at, really. You're protecting the idea of adoption as well, because if you don't make it a space where there is fair competition, there'll be no adoption, right? Like why would anybody, like, I came to Axie and the IP grabbed me. Easy relations because of Pokemon and my interest in there. Easy relations because of the type of game and battling that Pokemon has. It's not the same because it's not a card battler, but you're doing maths, those types of things, trying to there's a poker element to it as well, whatever. But like that caught me. If I had come into the space and had a completely unfair, experience where I just thought, well, what, this is going to be the same way every single season, I wouldn't stay. If the IP never grabbed me, I wouldn't have stayed, and if we're protecting the integrity of fair competition, like, I just think it goes so much deeper. And I hate getting to this point, but like, I've been in a space for over a year and a half now, which isn't a long time at all in comparison to a lot of people, but the amount of times I've gone back and forth in my own head and played tennis on the idea, and I just end up at the same position. Is like, I mean, I don't know how we get closer towards a fair competition. I really don't know.
Let me clear some stuff up right now, right? Because like this is such a waste of breath for a lot of people to talk about all the time. The game in terms of finances will never be fair. Literally. It will never be fair. You know why? Because that's the nature of the blockchain and decent, like, having this open market, semi decentralization and all this stuff, right? There will always be a supply and demand. There will always be something that's hot for the moment in competition, and there'll be a low supply of it and a high demand of it, and the ones who can buy it are the only ones who are going to be able to get it. That's just bottom line. And people, like, that's just the game you're in. If you don't want that, feel free to play Hearthstone, for example. Where like you just pay X amount and you disenchant and you craft whatever you want and then you go with it. Because if not for the system that we have, we won't have this open market. You can try to cap an Axie's price point to some extent, but then it's going to be the same thing. Everything else will just keep going lower, and the supply will continue to be bottlenecked, and we'll still complain that, oh, this thing is too much. Nothing will change. All we can do to make things more fair is look at the things that are outside the economic stuff and figure out, okay, how can we have the most fair game possible, like, apart from that? Because like at the end of the day, Axie in some ways is like a casino, right? You need to like pay to play, and then you win. Like, it's like you pay to play, but then you win according to the level of like skill you have with the deck that you have, right? And how much you paid.
But we umbrella skill. We umbrella skill with for me now, like, skill as an Axie player is not about you choosing the right cards. It is about you choosing the right cards, but it's about your understanding of the game, your ability to select assets and seek out in the greater game of what Axie is, seek out deals, seek out Axies to breed, creating your own metas. These are games, right? And that's a skill element for me in Axie. I have been a better poison player this season because I started breeding poison Axies, and like now I'm starting to see that, which is an aspect that a lot of people don't get to see, be it because of the abilities and maybe they're not monetarily able to. But it's something that I've seen, experienced, and thought, you know what, okay, I get it. There's a greater game going on here. So the reason I can't compete in the top 1% is because on the other aspects of the game, I'm not firing on all cylinders, and that makes sense to me, right? I've come to accept that, and I get it now.
Let me chime in on that. Like, that's amazing what you just said. Like, Axie, so I'm gonna, have a comparison to like something in real life, right? Axie is not just like you're going to go play poker. Axie is like you're playing poker, you're playing roulette, and you're playing blackjack all at the same time. That's how you like keep moving up. Because like if let's say you're lacking in one department, you can press more on the other departments to try and help you perform better.
Yeah.
And that's where, like you said, like breeding comes into effect, right? Like you can't find the stuff that you want, or maybe the stuff that you want is too expensive. So why not take the gamble on yourself and be like, maybe you're just a better breeder and you make the Axie that you need for yourself. Right? So that's where I say like it's a combination of like multiple different things. So in Axies, like you got breeding, you got marketplace Axie hunting, flipping, trying to find deals, runes and charms, trying to get the right price for stuff, or maybe you're flipping that stuff. Whatever it takes for you to like, okay, you keep moving up a little bit by little bit until like you get your, your break essentially. Right? And like it's a constant process of studying.
Yeah.
Like,
how long did it take you before you were like serious in Axie? Like as soon as, like from when you picked the game up to like, what was the stint between that and then you winning, like, or being competitive?
Did I ever tell you about what I did when I first started playing Axie?
I'm not recalling it, so no, I don't think so.
Okay, so when I first started Axie, it was during the summer. I think it was like either right before season 18 or in the middle of season 18. I remember I came in the middle of season 18 when I started playing because I didn't have a full season on season 18.
Yeah.
So in season 18, I heard about Axie. It was from my in-laws, and it's like they're like, oh yo, there's a new game. All the Filipinos are playing it. What do you think? Check it out. Then I checked it out, and I'm like, oh, it's a crypto game. Let me do some research, figure stuff out. I spent like 3 days like YouTubing. I saw Elijah's videos. I saw Dave versus Axie's videos. I saw all this stuff. Then I realized the price point of everything, and I also had like, I believe it was just a little under 2 Ethereum with my friend that I invested like long time ago. So I was like, okay, let me get that from him, and let me actually go and just try this out, right? This will be my money to try stuff out with. So I take this 2 ETH, and for my 3 days of hunting, I realized that like eventually, coming from Dota, we have like over 100 heroes, and the meta then for Axie was like, yo, you just play 3 Axies, you farm SLP, you sell it, right? Like just SLP farming. But I was thinking like, okay, I want to come into this game. It's a game. I want to compete. I want to get like leaderboard. I want to like compete in some tournaments and this and that. So I was thinking like, I cannot do that with just 3 Axies. I need to figure out how can I get more Axies without having to spend more. Yeah. So immediately I was thinking about how to breed, and that's where I came across like Dave versus Axie's video. He was making a video about like how you find Axies on the marketplace that are like 3 out of 7 breeds. And then you like find like some good genetics on them, because normally 3 out of 7 breeds and 4 out of 7 breeds were selling about at the same price. Yeah. So find like some good genetics, buy them, breed them, sell it back to the market, and then now you have like an egg. Yeah. Right. That one egg costed like $700 or something ridiculous. Okay. So I bought that, I bred it, sold it back. So it was like 2 aqua. So I already had a plan. Like there's so many different builds. There was like beast bird plant. There was like a reptile build. There was like poison, whatever. I decided that I was just going to go with double aqua and a plant. And the reason why I decided that was because I wanted to buy the aquas and I wanted to breed them together. It was like Nemo aqua and a koi aqua. And the other 3 parts were all the same anyway. Right? So it made sense to just breed the 2 together. They're going to sell for like the same, roughly about the same price. So I bought those 2. I bred them. I sold it back. Then I bought 2 more that were 3 out of 7 breeds. I sold them back at 4 out of 7 breeds. And I made a few eggs like that. Yeah. Then like I just played to farm SLP with the plant double aqua team. So the first like 2-3 weeks, I wasn't really competing. I was just like farming essentially. Yeah. And as I bred and I got more, I suddenly got like some really good, like, nice
Zero breeds, yeah.
right? Like pure aqua Axies. Those breeds, those Axies at that time when Axie was hot were selling for like 1 Ethereum.
Damn.
Okay.
You didn't sell?
So what I did was like I got those eggs, right? Then I bred them together for myself. Now I have 4 eggs, right? From the 0. Then I sold the parents back into the market. And then when the new eggs hatched out, I always sold the best one that I had on the market at 0 breed. So I remember selling one of them at like for like 0.89 Ethereum or something.
Yeah.
Which was ridiculous, which
Yeah.
literally covered my entire cost of my breeding instantly. And then now I have like all these like new eggs, and I kept doing that every time. I sold the best one at 0 breed, and I keep rebreeding like the worst ones and keep multiplying from there. So that's how I started like this mini aqua farm that I had, which let me sustain myself throughout like the seasons, which let me slowly but surely buy an extra Axie, buy an Axie that like I want to play. And suddenly I had 2 different teams now.
Yeah.
Right. So during season 18, it was only half my season. It was a really disappointing ending for me because even though I only got to play half the season, I finished like 130 rank or something.
Oh, so you was like, next season I'm going for this.
Yeah, next season I was like, that really annoyed me, like not even being top 100. Like next season, like I now I had knowledge about the game. Now I could breed something that not everybody was already making. I started breeding like this the discard bugs.
Yeah.
Right? The pincer parasite plus sandal whatever bug, right? I started breeding those. That made me a bit more, and like that season I really try to go in, play better, everything. I got like top 10.
Yeah.
But like that 4K or like that 2 Ethereum, I think that 2 Ethereum at that time was worth like $4,000. So that $4,000 that I like first went into the game is like the only money I ever put in the game.
Wow. Yeah. And it's because you played the first step, like the first game correctly or well, not because I don't think there's a correct way to play it, that you played the first game well, which set you up to play the game well, got a taste for that and thought, okay, I can play that first game a little bit better and now broaden my understanding out because I kind of get that there's a meta going on here and there's so playing those games well set you up to play the game well, and I think that's important for like people to take away for sure, because I think if you played that poorly, like, do we see 1437? You might have said forget it, it's not for me.
If I lost that $4,000 or whatever it was, like the 2 Ethereum, like I would have just probably stopped, of course, right? But like before I even started it, I already had a strategy of how I was gonna get from like 3 Axies to 100.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like my goal was to eventually have like 100 Axies. I mean, now I own like 2K Axies or something. I don't even know how many Axies I own. Like, of course, it's money.
I didn't think you was gonna say that higher number, but Jesus, right? Okay.
Like it's a lot cheaper now than it was that time.
Yeah, of course.
Each Axie, like the floor was like $300 or something.
Bro, I remember coming into it and it was like, okay, oh, well, I can get like 1, right? And then I was like, what? I can't even get, like, I could afford a floor Axie and it would be like, even in V2 it was worthless. So but yeah, I remember those days for sure. It's a lot cheaper now, but that, I think that helps us talk about maybe helping, and again, this could be going to people right now that have never played Axie, right? But I think this will help a lot of people. If you were to, let's take a fresh Theban coming into Axie. If you were to come into Axie at this point, how are you, like, how do you approach that? Like, would you same way analyze, what is already happening? Like, do you look towards the top 10 leaderboards? Like, how do you approach that?
I wouldn't look at top 10. Like, I would always think about what my bankroll is first.
Yep. So it's always going to be specific, right? It's always specific to the person.
Like, bankroll is your most important thing. You never overextend. You always try to think about what you have and how you can like grow it, right? So if that's whether like you're breeding some like $20-$30 Axies together and like trying to make like a $40 Axie out of it and like keep going from it, or it's like you're trying to just buy a straight up team on the marketplace that you think like has longevity, get the free runes and charms, play, because like playing and getting shards is huge, you know, like it literally can give you like good runes and charms that can let you climb higher, right? So the same Axies you have, and just try to outperform the value of your team. That's the most important thing, right?
Yep.
Like for me, I've said this many times before, a winner is not someone who just gets like top high ranks or anything like that. It's someone who like multiplies whatever they had to use like on their team versus their reward, right? Like for me, I'm more proud of like say last season, I'm more proud of spending just 0.6 ETH to get rank 1 than if I would have been proud of spending like 3 or 4 Ethereum to do that. Right? Like
sure.
I don't really care that much about rank 1 as much as I would have cared about like how much I spent to get there. You know, like it wouldn't make me as proud. Like, but I'm very proud when I see people posting things like, oh, I spent like 0.03 Ethereum this season. I got like rank 140 or something. Dude, that shit.
That bangs. Yeah, that bangs for real.
Bro, that speaks volumes. Like that speaks like the nature of who you are. Like how good you are. You know. And that makes me really proud. I always like those kind of tweets, and I'm like, yo, go get it, bro. Like, and that's what I want to see. If someone new comes into the game, I want to see them like execute the best possible. I think there was one guy, who was it? I think his name was like JKK or something. Like on Twitter, like he was talking about how he's playing AOE and he spent he spent nothing. Like he spent almost nothing. It's like a team that he recycled. He bought like a bug or something this season, and then he got like a free endless anger in the choice box. He ended up like rank 140. Amazing, you know. AOE was so trash this season. Like it was actually really freaking bad, and like he got that high up. Like that makes me proud of him, you know.
Yeah, for real. I like that's how I would push it to a lot of other people now. Is if you're gonna come into the game though, like understand the games and that it is multiple. And studying, I think studying is something that's overlooked. I think for myself, I overlooked it massively, you know, in terms of like purchasing assets. There's been times where I thought, you know what, I've seen that and it just beat me. I'm going to go buy that. And it believe me, it does not pay off. I think the thought aspect that comes behind these decisions and studying the not only the meta but the marketplace itself is vital, absolutely vital. But I do challenge people that are listening to this right now, and if you're new players going into it, you know, I think would you say it's correct to go into a season with a budget, stick to the budget and try and outperform that budget?
I think most of the time, your budget, you're always gonna like.
You're gonna smash.
I think what's more important is like having a plan for your budget than actually having a budget.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Like trying to have a plan for it and kind of sticking to the plan, and like seeing you execute it. Like use your previous experience and whatnot to like do it. Outperforming what you like. Let's not forget. Okay, a game is like a game for a reason. It's meant to be fun, right? If you're not having fun, then you're already like losing a lot of value.
Yeah.
Right? Like whatever I spend on the game, I don't mind because I just enjoy it.
I feel that way as well.
Yeah. Well, like when I go into a Axie and like people sometimes are like, why are you buying that Axie? It's so weird. Like, why are you doing it? Well, I just wanna this game is just fun. I just want to do it. Like I don't care.
Bro, there's a whole heap of worthless Axies, quote unquote, in my inventory, but I love them. So
yeah,
I don't know what it is. Like I've looked at them and gone, you know what, you're not great. Like you're really not, and then still proceeded to purchase the Axie. But that's a personal preference, I guess.
And the other funny thing is like those Axies sometimes for me ends up being useful like 3 seasons later.
Yeah. Like, Jats the hail. Look at my inventory now. Go work something. All right, because they need help.
Yeah, that's just how it is, and I think like it's just the approach that matters at the end of the day, right? Like, if you break even in a season, like you should be,
yeah,
right? Because like you literally had all this experience, all this like games that you got to play, you know, and like enjoy yourself and the journey along the way. And
you walk away with intrinsic profit, intrinsic profit, bro. Right. That's what it's about, intrinsic profit. Now I do get that for sure. bro, there's so much more I want to talk about. I think this will be cut out from the final edit, but I think we'll do like a part 2. That's like, because we went Axie specific a lot of it, even though I know we talked about some stuff, and I really wanted to touch Geostone on it as well, so we can push that out for you, because I want to see success for that 100%. So but yeah, I got some more questions. These ones will probably be like left and off topic, a bit more generic about the scene itself. So yeah, but this will be like a shorter bonus kind of version. But now, man, it's crazy, bro. I can't, like, when I think about it all the time, that like you just turn the machine on, and we're having this conversation again about you being a champion. It's tiring. Can you pass it to somebody else at some point now?
Well, one thing that's funny too is like, I don't know, maybe it's just me. I feel like people are getting tired of like congratulating me, you know?
Yeah, they're like, oh, fucking this guy again, bro. You're gonna be an enemy soon. No, villain arc incoming.
Maybe they feel like it's automated at this point, where it's like, just set it up, and at the end of the season, just like
you just name just scales up there.
I really feel like everything heating up though. Like, to be honest, like with all the other players, I just hope like all the other players are not, getting burned too much along the way, because there's a lot of pressure also put on these other guys to be like, go and get it. Like, people need to understand how they're thinking, right? I remember there's I think it was rank 3 and 4 on the season. They keep like changing their name at the end of the season.
Oh, okay.
Pressure Wargos to go and play. But in reality, they just want him to go play so that if he loses, they get up in rank. Because Wargos is like at number 2. And I feel bad. Like, I don't want people to pressure each other like for that stuff, right? Like, just let people play. Let people play their game. Again, it's just a game at the end of the day, right? You gotta always think why people are doing what they do or saying what they say. Like, it's not always, they don't always have the best intentions, say the least. So like, you just gotta be like immune to that kind of stuff, and just like kind of go at it and just like do you.
For real. Keep doing you, Theban, bro, because it's working. Let's say that. The whole scene itself, bro. Blockchain gaming, Web3 game, like, what do we even title it anymore? People have different names for it all over, but it's in my opinion, we are, if we were relative to water, we're starting to bubble. Things are heating up. I don't think we're there at all yet, for sure, and I don't expect that really any kind of time soon, but the growth period over all of these, all of these weeks, days, hours that you put into Axie and gaming, and your eyes obviously go elsewhere, and you see other things happening. Is there anything in this scene right now in Web3 gaming that like has any of your attention?
Honestly, I'm just happy to be here, man. Like, I am freaking ecstatic. Like, I think I hit some gold mine jackpot, not because of, Axie and like earnings or whatever. I feel that just being here this early in the Web3 space, knowing the people that I know, like being understanding like what they're building and the potential of everything, I feel I can move. Before Axie, like, I didn't know how to invest my money, right?
Yeah.
Like, I really didn't understand it or what I should be doing. But now, like, I kind of like, Web3 has taught me so many life lessons that I just didn't know about beforehand, because I just used to be like in this Dota bubble, right? Where I just play, I win, and that's it. Like, I pay my bills and I'm happy. I don't spend on anything else, and that's that. Now I learn like so many different things. And I think Web3 will be the future. I like Web3. I don't really like blockchain gaming or anything like that. Like, I like Web3. I think it's very easy, very simple to understand. Eventually, I would like it to just be called gaming.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't want this Web3, whatever connotation, stuff associated with it. Just gaming. And like, just being able to own your assets, being able to sell your assets for like some kind of a currency, and then being able to then sell that currency for real dollar value is like, it's brainless, like, this is literally it. All that needs to happen at this point is like how to make it as easy as possible for people to like use that. Like I want to see a credit card,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or a debit card for like Ronin, for example, right? Like I
Yeah.
want to be able to use my debit card and be like, yo, I gotta pay this bill here with this money.
Well,
That would
do you see the Coinbase tweet with the Mystic
which one?
statue? There was a Coinbase Visa debit card, I believe, on
Yeah.
a Mystic Axie statue.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, so like, you know, there's gonna be obviously regulations of which countries you can use those in, right?
Yeah.
The
We don't need to get political with all of this stuff, but yeah, no, I know what
yeah,
you
like
mean.
there's a finance one. Like I can't use, like I don't have that here where I live, but
Mhm.
like if there is one that you can use, you know, universally and everything's fine, dude, that'd be amazing. If Coinbase, if there was some, you know, connection to it and you can use it, that would be awesome. Like that's my goal. Like that's my dream. If
Mhm.
I can literally pay my bills using like some web, like some,
Video game money.
you know, yeah, like there, like I play this game, I make my living or whatever, like doing trading or buying,
Mhm.
selling Axies, blah blah blah, and I can pay my bills with that, bro. That's like that's my dream right there.
Mhm. I honestly think we are. It's more and more apparent every other week to me and every other day when I learn things in this space, when I meet new people, talk about things in this space. But like, we are hurtling towards that, and I think it's there's enough people now. There's enough believers. There's strong participants in on a global scale that are understanding what's happening here. We're seeing it trickle into other industries right now. AI music is a big topic that's been of recent. You've got people considering now having a form of protection over musical rights and those types of things, having like the answer for that being ledgers, like public ledgers, ownership being established. So I think it is an inevitable thing, and you talk about it being like, yo, I'm just happy to be here this early. I do feel that for real. But I was gonna say, is there any like there's literally there's no games, there's nothing that's got your attention?
I mean, nothing in particular at the moment. There's a lot of games that like I keep an eye on, right? But for now, my focus is, you know, Axie, Battle for Geostone, the Guild. It's really hard to try to like look at other things. You know, it's hard to stay on top of a game while you're like focus on other stuff as
Other
well.
stuff, yeah,
Right?
yeah, for real.
Like I have my family. Like whatever spare time I have, I want to spend all that on my family, right? Like
Right.
I want to like that's time that I will never get back.
Let's talk about MT8 though. I want to leave him out of here. I'm personally, I do fuck with MT8 heavily. I know I'm a Quest boy out here, and we're ops and that, but like, I've got a lot of love for what MT8 does, and recent announcements from MT8 is actually grown, like, or increased that respect, especially for what you guys are doing over there. Congrats on being a validator for sure. Happy to see that happening, and of course with decentralization and the importance of having trusted parties in the scene, it's huge. But what I was like in awe of, and I really enjoy to hear, is the actual benefits of the rewards and the distribution that MT8 is gonna actually contribute back into the community.
Yeah.
I obviously, I've spoken with Elijah before, great guy, inspiring as well, and you both, working together as individuals, it's no, obviously MT8 is going to be doing the damage that it's doing, man, for real. But a joint decision, kind of had both the same understanding of where you wanted to go with that.
Yeah. I mean, Elijah and I talk all the time. This is something that Elijah told me that like this is something that we should be doing, and I was in full agreement with it in terms of like doing tournaments. Of course, we always have our disagreements in terms of like, okay, what we should do here, there, whatever. But like we have like this perfect balance.
Yeah.
Between the two of us, and that's how we always come to like the conclusions and what like with the strategy and everything. In terms of tournaments, I think it's a great way to like give back to the community, right? And to show like, look guys, we're the real deal, like not only as an esports club, but like in terms of the community, right? Like how we want to grow it, how we build it, bring it together, right? One day, we do have aspirations of being a governing validator as well.
Hmm.
Like that would be pretty awesome to do, to become, to show that we are worthy as well.
Yeah. Well, we already know that for one, the candidate lists will expand, and of course the governing list with that. I think with the value you do provide, and like what you've set out to provide already, I think it could be a very easy step up, and I think a lot of people that will in the future benefit from the things you guys are doing would also agree with that. So hopefully we see more of that. I think it's a wise place to be. That's the whole staking game. It can be complicated if you don't understand what matters and why you would stake where, and how important staking is and what it does for the network and all these types of different things. But having somebody like MT8 in a community where you go and compete in a tournament and like you just got paid out by them, and the tournament was great, things were ran well, it was a good community event, spirits are high, it's like, okay, yeah, I can stake some of my portion there, these guys I can trust, and I think it is that trust factor for staking as well. So solid move, hats off to both of you guys for getting the guild in that position for sure, because it's not easy in any ways. I mean, first and foremost, the entry is not easy, let's be fucking real, but like to have it up and running, to get that facilitated as well, and then have an idea for it that's as well thought out and impactful as what it is. Hats off to you for real. And I'll 100% be encouraging people to compete for sure. I might pop up every now and then, but
In the TMA one, man.
yeah, you're gonna see me in that one. I don't know about the Axie, because Demon, bro, you gotta I don't know, we might make some content out of it, but like I might have to come to like 1437 school one time and like you're like, bro, I'm a noob, bro. Why? It's been a year and a half. What's going on? Don't just laugh at me, bro. Like, it's a dead serious question. What do you mean?
I don't know. I don't know what's going on. How would I know? I haven't watched any of your games or.
No, it's true. It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
But hey, we might have to have some conversations off screen and that, because I'm getting
is really finicky. It's not like V2. In V2, it's like when I watch a replay of a player, I'm like, yo, this is what you did wrong. This.
Yeah.
This mindset. Boom, you're done. Get out of here and go climb 1,000 MMR. Whatever. Origin is like, there's a lot of small things, but there's big things, and there's like axes, that you have to like change here and there some parts. Maybe they don't exist, maybe they do, maybe they're too pricey, maybe they might get changed. There's like, it's really difficult, in my opinion, to give advice on Origin.
Let me rephrase it then, because I think this is the reason, and people say this to me every season as well. Like, just stop. Like, if I'd have chose to stop playing Poison and played like one of the builds that I knew beforehand, before it was like most of the time, the build that ends up being the build to play at the end of the season, like I'm aware of, right? I understand how it works, why it works, what you need, and how you would play it and all that. But I just, like, I won't, right? Because I want to play Poison, all right? Maybe we can have a conversation at one point every season where we talk about what is the best outcome for Poison. That might be the change, and hey, if it might not be a top 100, but it might be my best season as a Poison player, and we might have to do it for real. So
we'll have to see what the next patch note brings, but maybe this was the best season of Poison.
Bro, I knew you was gonna bring the Doomsday Paralyzed Glare. If it gets clipped, oh, bro.
I don't think it will. I think if ever, they're just gonna leave Poison the way it is. I don't think they're gonna like buff it or nerf it.
It is, bro. It's as strong as it's ever been.
It's as strong as it's ever been, yeah. I think if it wasn't for Topaz, Poison would be like
a lot higher and
so
probably
strong. But at the same time, excuse me, Poison has like a kind of a strong counter, in like Regenerator, for example. Right? Regenerator is like really good against Poison. So like, just because of that, I feel like maybe they just won't touch Poison too much. I know I recently heard like there was an announcement that it's gonna be like about 3 weeks or something, or
before we get it, and that they want to update us like a week prior or so if they can.
Yeah, so like with that being said, I feel like maybe the patch might not be as big. Maybe they feel like the game is in a better place. They just got to tweak a little few things.
Yeah.
I know that like with recent changes, they're trying not to change too many things so that people will not be so upset about their Axies being.
Yeah, because it was a huge change in December, right? Start of the year,
Oh,
we had a
yeah,
lot.
yeah. I mean, every season has been a huge change until like this past season, essentially. So
Yeah, it is in its best place though. I can agree with that. I know that there's gonna be so many people saying, but look at the leaderboards, Topaz. But the game itself is definitely it's advancing, which is a good thing. But bro,
I think just to finish off on that point, then like Topaz has a lot of counters. It's just that like nobody really wanted to use it, right? Like a lot of people tend to play things that are like proven and tested instead of like trying stuff out just because of, let's say, the monetary possible gains in that moment. Like they want to be like, yo, I want the guarantee money, right? Like in that sense. So it's understandable, right? I mean, I do the same thing, but like there are ways to counter Topaz. Like I feel there are AoE teams that should be like really good counters to Topaz, but it just so happens to be that AoE just sucked against everything else. In that
and that's why you think AoE wasn't strong, because of it just had so many flaws against other types of builds.
Exactly, it had so many bad matchups against a lot of different comps.
I can feel it for sure. I honestly, a lot of people were speculating that you were going to play the AoE comp.
Oh yeah, I mean there was a lot of people who were like, oh, I'm tired of AoE. Like I wish AoE.
The Winghorns were bro. They were annoying.
This one, I'm gonna call out Rollo on this one. I know. I'm just gonna give him shit for it. He I love you, buddy. But he did say, it's like he tweeted like, I just want one season where AoE doesn't win or multi-hit doesn't win.
You got it.
There you go. You got it, buddy.
Yeah. No, shout out to Rallo, bro. Anytime I've ever interacted with Rallo, it's been just a ball of energy, man. He's great.
He's an amazing person, and he knows I love him. But I just have to give him that shit this one time.
No, man. I think we've reached that point where I'm gonna call it a day. I don't really want to, bro. We could sit here and talk about a lot of us. I tried to coax you into other things, talking about the industry, but he was not having any of it, bro. Your eyes are focused on Axie, Geostone, MT8, the family. There's a lot of stuff going on. I do want to say it again, bro. Congratulations. Are you gonna make me say it again another season next in like a couple months? Probably, but no, seriously, bro. It's not about you just winning seasons, stuff like that. There's much greater things going on from you. So I genuinely appreciate you. If I speak on behalf of the whole community, thank you for being here, and thank you for continuing to hold your integrity the way that you do, man. And I always enjoy our conversations, for real.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's always a pleasure, and don't disappear on me again, right?
Nah, we ain't going nowhere. Ronin is here, bro. And I'm a Ronin maxi now, so I always was. But I'm always gonna be here. I'm gonna get more involved. And yeah, bro. Maybe we'll be having this conversation again in a few weeks. But yeah, don't ghost me. And I'm coming to you, bro, with this next season. Poison.
I've never ghosted you. All right.
Nah, he's never.
For a call, they said let's do this. I'm here. And we get it done. You're the one who told me that we're gonna have another one, sometime soon. We didn't.
Yeah.
Until now,
That's sometime soon, right?
What's that?
That's sometime soon.
Yeah, sure. I mean, just hit me up.
No, I'm saying that it was sometime soon. Like it just the perception of soon was a bit skewed. But okay, no, fair enough. No, we'll continue to converse, bro, for sure. But good luck with everything. That's right in front of you right now, and I believe you'll have a strong year as always, and hopefully we get a LAN event so we can link up again later on in the year, bro, for real. But
great.
Much love.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Take care, brother. Thank you. Peace.
Out.